Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singer-songwriters and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. My next guest is a singer-songwriter who navigated a dual career as a children's therapist and musician music teacher. Shortly after recording her album Illusion, she was in a car accident, which left her with a brain injury. Later, during rehabilitation, she decided to split up her album and release some of the songs as singles. So, let's spill the tea with Anjula Evans. Welcome, Anjula.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
You are most welcome. Thanks for joining us on the show. You've got a few things to explore here that I don't get to go down the path on every day with an artist. First of all, it was great to see you at the Martys and your award from the Martys. So that was nice to meet you there. Let's talk about your musical life and where your influence came from. We know that you play guitar. You actually play classical guitar, which is very cool, and some piano. And of course, you've got a beautiful voice. So where did the inspiration come and the influences come for all of that musical talent?
Well, when I started getting into pop, I was about 11 years old, and I used to just pick up my guitar and play along with the radio. Just turn the radio on, just played along with each song. And I would say my guitar influence back then was Bryan Adams.
Hmm?
Really enjoyed his stuff. And then I got into songwriting at 13. And I know this might be a little bit interesting. I actually went to the same jazz program in high school that Diana Krall went through,
Oh,
except I was
very
years
cool.
behind her.
Hmm.
So yeah, so we would watch her play like her college quartet when we were kids. So we would watch her at the festivals. We really enjoyed that. So I went through that. And then later, when I was in college, I got into classical voice. I enjoyed listening to Shania Twain, and I liked what Alanis and Sarah McLachlan were doing with their voices back then. And so I, worked on some flexibility and to try some new techniques and things. For writing, my influences were Diane Warren, Annie Lennox, and now I'm enjoying some stuff by Ryan Tedder.
Well, lots of great influences there. Notably, all of them came from outside of your family.
Yes, I actually am the only musical one in my family. My sister does play piano, and my brother does awesome karaoke.
Let's talk about your journey
Okay.
because you had a musical career. You're a children's therapist. You had studied music. You had gone through music, and you had this tragic car accident, which left you with a brain injury and a considerable rehabilitation.
Yeah.
When people meet you and talk to you, and anybody watching you right now and listening to you on the radio is going to say, that person doesn't appear to have any leftover effects from a brain injury. So take us through a brief journey of what happened and and your journey to rehabilitate and get back to a singing career.
Sure. Well, I was in a car accident and I was making a right turn on a green light and a young driver ran a red and hit my door. And I hit my head twice and I was very disoriented over the next while. Um, over life in general, I thought other people were in the car, but I was alone. It was just a lot of confusion. I had to relearn how to walk backwards properly because I kept tripping going forwards. So I had to work in a pool for 6 months using cross patterning with my arms and leg, opposite arm to leg, right? To practice doing that. So I would stop tripping going forward. I had to go through some I stopped answering the phone or talking because I was so embarrassed because I would stop in the middle of my sentence and not know what to say. There have been a lot of things that I have had to work through rehabilitation. I would do really crazy things. I laugh about them now, but once I wore my winter hat in the shower for 15 minutes and didn't even realize I was wearing it. I reboiled eggs for an hour, thinking that they just didn't look like they were done.
Oh, who hasn't done that?
Well, I laugh at these things now, but it wasn't until I started laughing at myself, like just joking about the funny things that I do, that I really was able to start pushing forward in a positive way in my rehabilitation and, working through things, just baby step by baby step. I had a lot of anger at first because my left hand was injured and I couldn't play guitar the same. And then hands together on the piano wasn't a thing I could do because of the multitasking involved in that. So, there was quite a time there where I did have to deal with a lot of anger and push through that. And then finally I started to deal with that. It was actually through helps of, some of the doctors that I broke through that and I was able to start writing again.
Let's talk about the journey back and what you went through emotionally. When did you believe at the time that your music career was over, or did you always believe that you were going to make it back?
I felt that it was over at that time. I wasn't able to teach anymore. I had so many difficulties. I dealt with chronic pain. Um, Emotionally, I hit rock bottom at one point, and living life even was difficult. And it's interesting because we usually think, a lot of us think of life in terms of pre-COVID and after COVID. For me, it's pre-accident and after accident. So in the same terms as that. So I look at my life before my accident, and now I consider it a totally different book,
Mhm.
not a chapter, because I would compare myself. So when you compare yourself, then you get really down on yourself because things go differently. But, I've been picking up my life and going in a different direction. And I think I'm really happy with the direction my life has gone in, even though it's a totally different direction that I thought it would go in.
What was the turning point? What was the aha moment when you said, I'm going to do this again? Enough. I had the accent. Yeah, as you say, new book, not a new chapter, new book. I'm going to do this. What was the aha moment for you when you realized that you could really get back into this?
I think when I wrote the song Connection, it's actually about my car accident journey and just how I wasn't able to connect with the world. And basically it's being able to connect through my heart, the connection through my heart, and just finally feeling like I wasn't on another planet somewhere looking down, watching my life go by and everybody living their lives and me not. And I was actually able to participate again in life. It was a journey to that point, and I think just having that song that I played over and over in my head all hours of the day to learn how to reconnect. I think that was the turning point, was that song and how it drew me back into life and into music. It's amazing how a song can have that effect, how music can have that kind of effect on your life.
What is the challenge for you today? Not necessarily, from a physiological side of things, but what's the challenge for you as an artist to get your music out there?
Wow, it's a good question. I think distribution is a big thing. Being able to get out there and perform in front of people live, especially when I sometimes have a bit of lack of confidence just because I know that I can be unpredictable in my daily life sometimes. I always consider I do one weird thing a day, which, is like the boiling the eggs or wearing my hat in the shower or, something silly like that. And I laugh at it. But I think that sometimes I wonder, will I make an error or a mistake? But then I realize, when I'm playing and I've taught my students this too, you just keep on going because most people will never notice that you ever made an error or made a mistake. You just keep on going there. And so I just have to remind myself sometimes that you don't want to it's what the forest for the trees. You don't
Yes.
want to lose the forest for staring at all the little details, all the tiny details, and lose the overall picture. So it's, I think, to just learning how to just accept being myself, and for people to to communicate to people that way, that I'm just me. I'm just another person, and I'm sharing music, and uh, however it goes, I just hope that it touches people's hearts.
It's so true that when you are, most people, first of all, if you're giving a presentation or you're doing something, you know more about the topic than anybody else in the room. And they don't know what you're supposed to say anyways. So if you ad lib and go along with it. Now, if you've got a song that's been out there and you forget the lyrics when you're on stage, people might say, hey, that's not the right lyrics. But but as an artist, say, hey, I'm just making things up as I go along. Well, let's take a listen to one of the songs that Angela wrote. The music and lyrics for this song were written by Angela, produced by Chris Jans. It was recorded at Sapphire Sound in Abbotsford, British Columbia. So let's take a listen to singer-songwriter Anjula Evans and her song, This Life I Give to You.
When I look in your eyes, I cherish the man I see inside. It's a look in your heart, and I see you as you are. Always remember
That was This Life I Give to You by Anjula Evans. Anjula, it's a beautiful song, and I'd love to know your interpretation on it. What's the song about, and what was the inspiration to write it?
So the song it's a hope in my heart, and it has been for a long time. The hope that is walking down the aisle, and it's a permanent lifetime commitment. And then the next section I wrote at a different time, and it's understanding that there will be good days and there will be not so good days when you're in a relationship. And so it was inspired by a relationship I was in at the time and what I was hoping for in that relationship, but it never came to be.
How do people find out more about you, Anjula? What's the website? What's the socials? Where can they go to find out more about you and your music?
Sure. www.anjulaevans.com is my website. And I usually post any events I'm at on my blog there. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
We have been in conversation with Anjula Evans. Anjula, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much, David.